What would you do if someone you know was completely normal one day and then the next day completely relied on you for absolutely everything? My topic today is about Rett syndrome. This is a rare disease that is caused by the MECP2 gene being silent. It affects similar diseases such as Down syndrome and autism. My sister's one of those affected by Rett syndrome, and growing up I had to constantly help care for her. Today I'll be speaking about three things: the cause of Rett syndrome, the effects of Rett syndrome, and the cure efforts that have been started to treat and eventually cure it. My first point is the cause of Rett syndrome. So how many of you know somebody affected by Rett syndrome? A couple people. So odds are a lot of people don't know about this. This generally only affects about 1 in 10,000 girls that are born. Rett syndrome, according to Adrian, in an article, is caused by a malfunction of the gene MECP2. This gene in Rett syndrome is silent, and it causes a lot of things to happen to those affected by it. Some of these effects that happen, it blocks regular basic functions, such as speech, motor functions, and even specific functions in the brain. This gene mutation is more common in females due to the fact that this is carried on the X chromosome, and since females have 2 of those, it makes sense that it would be more likely to occur in that. Next, I'll be talking about the side effects of Rett syndrome. According to the article Rett syndrome, the effects of this disease generally occur within the first 6 to 18 months after being born. As you can see with these 2 pictures I have, the one on the right hand, or on your left hand side, is my sister in the middle when she was before 6 months. The picture on the right hand side is her now at about 18, or that was about 18 years. So you can see in the first picture that she really looked like a normal baby, but after a little bit, all these side effects ended up happening, and you can see she's wheelchair bound. Other side effects that have happened and can happen include seizures, loss of speech, loss of motor skills, disorganized breathing patterns, scoliosis, decreased cardiac functions, decreased learning ability, and irritable sleeping, according to the article What is Rett syndrome. Over time, these children have problems with using their muscles in order to basically complete any regular functions. A lot of these include abnormal hand movements, such as repetitive rubbing or clapping. It almost makes it impossible for these people to care for themselves, so they rely on those around them to care for everything for them. In my sister's case, one of the side effects as well is a decreased nutrition, which causes slower growth patterns and irregular growth patterns. This is due to lack of nutrition. My sister, as she grew older, ended up needing a feeding tube. Lastly, I'll be talking about some of these cure efforts to treat and eventually cure Rett syndrome. Since geneticists have found that the cause of this disease is down to the MECP2 gene, that being silent, a lot of these studies and a lot of this research has been designed specifically to focus on activating that gene. According to Adrian again, they did a study in female Asian mice that were impacted by Rett syndrome. They found that inserting this MECP2 gene allowed the activity level of that gene to come back up and cured it in some mice. The positive outlook on this one, or on this type of treatment, is that it can eventually be cured. The only detriment is they don't know exactly how much MECP2 to inject into the brain for each and every individual. Another thing is they have to inject it basically right into the brain for it to actually have an effect. A new approach, according to Adrian as well, includes introducing some of these lacking chemicals in different specific areas, such as irritable sleeping or lack of nutrition. Introducing these chemicals has helped cure some of these side effects, although not all of them. It makes life a lot easier for these individuals affected. They tested some of these drugs in mice, and according to Torres, it says it has been able to lengthen the life of the animals, significantly reducing tremors, breathing difficulties, and mobility limitations. So in conclusion, today I've talked about the cause of the disease, the effects of Rett syndrome, and some of the treatment and cure plans that are in place eventually to eventually eliminate this disease. in the causes, it's caused by MECP2. With this, some of the side effects include motor skill loss, as well as loss of speaking. But the future does hold hope with these cure treatments and some of these medications that are coming into effect. Although Rett syndrome is a rare disease and it doesn't affect a lot of people, curing this disease could help countless of thousands affected by the loss of the MECP2 gene, and it could help some of those that you know. Thank you.